Okay. Hello, class. Please, can you hear me? Hello,
Yes.
Lord. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Mawang, please mute yourself.
All right. So good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right. So because of time, just a minute. Okay. Hello.
Hello, sir.
All right. So because of our time, I think we just go straight. So today we are looking at how data analytics and digital branding crisis management affect branding in general. Now let's look at the details. So basically, when you talk about data analytics, you want to look at the collection, the processes and analysis and interpretation of data to uncover useful insights that helps in decision making. So for an organization, one of the core responsibility of any management is decision making. All right. Wherever you find yourself, it's about decision making. Whatever management you find yourself in, whatever you find doing in organization, is usually the issue of decision making. So the kind of decision that you make will either make you or otherwise. Now, what we are trying to say is in modern business and in digital businesses, it is important to collect, process, analyze, and interpret data accordingly to make the necessary decisions that will favor the organization. I think Fafa, if you can mute yourself, it will help us. Now, basically, basically, if you want to do all this, then there's a need for you to use some statistical tools, some statistical techniques to be able to arrive at some patterns and trends of the data as you collect them. And now the algorithm is helping us, computerization and a few other modern tools that help organizations to actually now make specific decisions. Okay, so the data that you collect or the data that the organization is able to generate, how do you interpret them to help the organization make a meaningful decision? That's what we are talking about. So in today's digital world, organizations generate vast amount of data. And why do we do this? Basically, in making decisions, improve operational efficiencies, understand customer behavior, predict future trends, and gain competitive advantage in the markets as and when the need arises. Now, if you want to understand what is meant by if you want to understand how data emanates, how data grows to become useful. Now, basically, organizations start collecting data. So it starts from data collection. It starts with data collection, which comes in the form of raw data. I'm struggling with this thing in front of me. Do you have interruptions in the screen?
No, sir.
Well, I'm the only
It's
person.
fine.
If there are no interruptions, then that is fine, because I am getting some interruptions. I thought that you are also facing the same thing.
No,
But
sir. It's okay.
interruption, that is
Yes,
fine. So it starts from this is how it happens. It's just like collecting data, okay, variety of data from so many sources. Now you process the data into a form of information, and then you graduate from the information to what you call insights. And out of the information, you get some experiences and some kind of cognition from it that helps you to get an insight. So for instance, something happened in your workplace, something happens, and then you know that as a manager of the division or a head of department, your CEO is going to ask you about what happened. Or at the end of the day, at the end of the month, your sales is poor. So you know that when you go for management meeting, you are going to be asked, what happened? So what do? You prepare before you go, isn't it? So what do? You first take all the data that you have, your regular customers who bought and those who did not buy. In fact, you end up asking them, sometimes you may place a call to them to find out why they failed to buy this month. Okay? The people will tell you all sorts of things. Oh, the economy is not good. People are not buying. the government is this, the dollar is going up, and so on. Our creditors are also not paying us. Now, all these are just raw data that you, the manager, gets from the market. But when you come back to the office, what do? You put all this information, you put all this raw data, this data that you've collected from the market, you put it in a basket, and you analyze it, and you process it. How does it relate to the low sales in the organization? And that will help you to get a certain kind of information. What information is it? It comes from all you know, you even supplied at the wrong time of the month. So when you went there, you notice that some of the goods are still with some customers who are yet to pay. So that's an information that you get out of the data that you have collected. Now, at the time when you were distributing the products at the wrong time, you did not notice how wrong the time is. But after distributing and not able to get the money on time or not able to get subsequent orders, you now have realized that you are getting an information that, listen, something went wrong in the process. And what was it? Basically, it was about wrong delivery time. Now that you have gotten this, it helps you to get an insight. So going forward next month, you advise, when you go to management meeting and you are asked what happened, you are going to tell them that, well, it looks like we supplied them the wrong time. And so they are not able to turn around in good time to pay us. What is the insight? What is the knowledge that you have gained from this? The knowledge you gain from this is that it is important for you to supply them at a certain time in a month so that your customers can turn around and pay before the month end. So you see how data can develop into a certain kind of insight that helps you to now make a meaningful decision for an organization. Any question on this one? This is a very important concept I need you to grab. How raw data emanates into insights. This is very key. And so that's why I'm taking my time to go through. So if there's anybody who have a question on this one, kindly let me know.
Here, you know.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Thank you. So let's look at some types of data analytics. So the data that we see, they are categorized into so many types.
Hello,
so
sir.
that data. Yeah, Paul.
Hello, sir. Yes, I have a problem
Yes, please.
on the pyramid.
Yes.
Please, I want to know the section or the sizes. Does it have an impact on the pyramid? So if you look
The
at
what?
the base, the sizes of the pyramid. So if you take the base, the data, it has a
Yes.
big section. But when you get
That's
to
a
the
what?
process, it has a bigger base.
Yes, because the data you collect is a lot. You understand? You collect a lot of data, but when it comes to insight, you only get, you see, it's just like intelligence. If you look at the security agencies, they collect a lot of data, but what constitutes intelligence that they can use to arrest? That is why when they go to court, you see this matter in court, this Edugwahin and the state in court. You see, initially there were a lot of charges, right? If you remember, there were 40-something charges, isn't it? The Chairman to me case. If you are listening, you will notice that at the beginning, they brought in a lot of charges, but as the matter progresses, you realize that the charges are reducing. Have you noticed it?
Yes, sir.
Exactly, because you are getting insight in the case. Because in the beginning, when the police, that's why a lot of times the police go to courts and then the court will tell them, well, it's like you don't have a case, and then they allow the culprit to go. The reason is that the police always rush and go with ordinary data. They are not able to progress to get to the level of insight that will now pin the person and make a case. Are you getting the point? So that space is because you have variety of data, you have variety of customers that you talk to. But when it comes to information, you are getting a few pointers in all the conversation that you've had. The volume of data, the velocity of data, the value, the variety and veracity of data that you have gathered. All of them will give you a certain kind of specific information. A lot of times when you do a research and you write all sorts of things, the outcome of the research is one thing or two things. It is not all the things that you write from the beginning, isn't it? And it's because you get information that can be useful in all the information, all the data that you collect. When you put them together, you see a lot of similarities, you see a lot of alignment. And at the end of the day, when you put it together and you align them, you realize that it now emanates into a certain level of insight that helps you to now make a very firm decision. Well, am I making some sense?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So let's progress.
Sir,
So like
sir.
Any more questions?
Yes, sir. Sir.
William.
Please, along the pyramid by the side, I also saw cognition and uncommon sense layer. Can you please explain that portion?
The what? Cognition and uncommon sense layer. Yes.
Uncommon sense layer. Yes,
exactly.
Sir.
Because your experience, you are going to get a lot of information. But you use cognition. When we talk about cognition, means that the application of wisdom. Okay? An uncommon sense layer. There are some things that people will tell you, you yourself, you know it's a lie. You don't need anybody to tell you it's a lie. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So the insight you get is the things that are uncommon. Because if you know it already, if you know the answer already, then you don't need the data. Because you didn't know the answer to the reason why your sales is low. That is why you go back to the customers to go and ask them what is happening. Now they'll tell you all sorts of things. What is not common to you is that you supply them in a certain part of the month. For instance, you go and take a loan at the bank. Some bogus loan. I remember some years back that I took from some shrewd business guy. The loan came on the 17th of the month, and they are taking the first payment. They are taking it on the 25th of the month. Can you imagine? It was like asking you to hold the money for them like a week and a half, and then they are taking back their money in the form of loan repayment. So that's just by the side. But the uncommon sense is that what is not usual that catches your attention, that is what is called insight. If you know it already, you already have the sense. But what is uncommon is the insights that you get from it. You never knew that when you supply customers after the 10th, they cannot turn around and pay you on time. It's because all these years you've been supplying them. The first week, from 1st to 5th, you supply them. Fine. When the month starts, within the first week, the first 3 days, you finish supplying. But this time, because of doing so and other things, it happens that the supply started from on the 10th. You did not know that if the supply goes on the 10th, the customers will not be able to turn around and pay you by the 30th and make a new order. So then it affects your business. So this becomes an uncommon sense that you have now gathered, and that emanates into the insights. It gives you an insight to now the distribution structure you need to now adapt. Are we there, William?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Any more questions? Because a lot that we are discussing depends on this. That's why I'm spending time. If you can't get this, most of the argument you'll be making will look like something else to you. All right. Now, when you look at the type of data, we are looking at descriptive, we are looking at diagnostics, predictive, and then prescriptive. Now, a lot of times, when we run into issues, we ask, oh, what happened? You see, when an accident happens and you ask, oh, but what happened? They are going to describe to you how the accident happened, isn't it? They are going to tell you what happened. And it's because of the kind of question you ask. The kind of question that you ask is a descriptive question that requires a descriptive answer. So they are going to describe you are going to give you equally a descriptive response. Okay, so they are going to tell you history about how the place, how the accident happened, and how people have been, a lot of cars have been having accidents in that curve. So they will not tell you only about what just happened. They are going to add history to it. And it's because by the nature of that curve on that road, a lot of cars have been having accidents, and it's very common. You understand? Now, you also look at diagnostic analysis. So analytics, then you look at it answering why did it happen. It explores data to determine the cause of a particular outcome. Okay, example, analyzing why customers engagement dropped after a marketing campaign. So your question should be why. You can't go and ask what, because when you go and ask what, you are going to get descriptive answers, or you are going to get descriptive analytics. And that is why I keep on saying that the reason why our social media, Africa is not able to cash in on social media big time is that all the reports that a lot of us in our workplaces, most of the times, we ask descriptive analytic questions. So we go look for what kind of reports do you require to make a decision online for an online business? A lot of times, we go and ask for descriptive ones. So we go and ask for who customer, males, the number of males and the number of females. You are only asking for description of the problem. You are not diagnosing the problem. So when you go to a hospital, you go and describe your problem and the doctor will diagnose it, isn't it? But in this case, when you are sitting home and you are describing your problem, and you say, because we are all not doctors. And when you describe it, we will give you equally a descriptive solution. But when it comes to diagnostics, when you tell somebody you are sick, you have a headache, and the person starts to ask you, what kind of headache are you feeling? How are you feeling it? He says, okay, the headache is at the forehead or at the side head of my I'm feeling the headache on my right side head. And it's something that is beeping. It sounds like something is beeping in my head, and I'm feeling it in my ears. That is diagnostics. But if you tell somebody that you have a headache, it's a description. Every headache is a headache. But maybe the pain is coming from the back of your head. It's only diagnostic that will tell you where the problem is coming from. So in data management or data analytics, if you want to understand why your market is not working for you, then you must look up diagnostic analytics. That will help you to now answer some of these questions. Now, there's also predictive analytics that answers what will happen next. As it indicates, predictive. And that is using machine learning, data science, and statistic models to forecast the future trends. An example, predicting customer churn in a telecom company. So you know that, okay, if you're an Uber rider and you set off at 4 a.m., you are likely to complete a certain number of kilometers by 6 p.m. So you can using predictive analytics to actually now ascertain what is likely to happen. And that helps in forecasting and planning. Then we also have the prescriptive analytics that answer what should we do. Now, like the doctor will prescribe to you what to do. It suggests action based on data insights to optimize outcomes. So that is why the understanding the data insight is key, which is also the pinnacle of data management and analytics. Your ability to actually now prescribe what is likely to happen. Okay. Now, when it comes to data analytics, it can be applied in now, because of digitalization, it can be applied in all sorts of areas, in business and marketing, for customer segmentation, trend forecasting and return on investment measurement, for healthcare, disease prediction, patient record analysis and medical research. The Ebola, now I'm told that Ebola is coming back. It's actually already around. Now, the point is that if this happened in a much advanced environment, they would have predicted potentially the level of infection in 6 months' time. So now they will start to put in place mechanism to deal with it, because they would have studied, they would have been able to predict, done the diagnostics to understand what really it is, and then do a predictive analysis to now forecast the level of spread based on our lifestyle. You see, in Africa, we are communal in nature. We live in communities. People live with others. We take common buses. Look at the way we sit in our trotro. Look at the way we sit and eat with each other. Look at what happens around. So if Ebola want to infect us, it's very, very easy. All of us will die in the next very short minutes. You know, in a very short time, all of us will go away. But are we being able to really analyze, diagnose the situation well, and predict potentially what is going to be the spread in the next 6 months, to see how many African countries are likely to be covered? Then we can map up strategies to deal with the disease as such. Unfortunately, we are not good with these things, and so we'll be sitting there country by country. When you hear that your country, people will start to report about it, then you start to find your own solution. You know, to all of us will die one day. In finance, it helps in fraud detection, risk assessment, and stock management, e-commerce, personalized recommendations, price optimization, and supply chain management. And then also, when it comes to student performance, education for student performance, tracking adaptive learning, and cumulative design. You know, so if we're able to understand the trends of industry, it will help us even design programs that industry wants, not just anything. Now, let's look at some quick tools that can be used for data analytics. We talk about key tools and technologies for data analytics, like Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets. You can also look at structured query language, and then Python and R, which are very common these days. We also have Power BI and Tableau, and then Google Analytics. And you notice that all these, Google Analytics is a website traffic and user behavioral analytics. So if you want to, for instance, if you want to track conversion rate, then Google Analytics is not your solution. Do you understand? If you want, for instance, if you want to develop intelligence, if you want insights on your data insights, then you must look at Power BI or Tableau. You cannot go to Google Analytics and go and look for insights. And that's why I keep on saying that what we are used to by always going to Google Analytics to download the data and study is quite misleading, because it won't give you that. Data analytics will not give you insights. It won't give you the business intelligence that you require for insightful decision. All right. For Excel sheet, if you want basic manipulation, those of you who are writing your thesis, when you want to lie about the data, what do you do? Is it not Excel sheet that you duplicate and do all sorts of things to get your data, right? To run your analysis. So that one, I'm sure, is common with all of us. Okay, then if you look at structured query language, database management and data extraction, and then advanced data analytics, machine learning, automation, that's Python. Now let's look at some challenges that comes with it. Of course, issue of privacy. How the data is collected and managed is always an issue. Okay, so data privacy is an issue. Data quality issues. Now I keep on saying, in fact, if we run a survey on how many of us even input correct information into our social media or digital platforms, it's a lie. a lot of us, some people, in fact, I can't remember how many people I know that input correct information when it comes to any online platform. Like they are creating an account on Google and Google is asking them their date of birth. They will give you a wrong information. And then, unfortunately, people will be wishing you birthday on that day. Meanwhile, you deceive everybody, you deceive the whole world with that information. And all of us will be sharing, what do you call it? Electronic flowers, electronic cake here and there. The guy will not even respond because he has even forgotten that he gave a fake name, a fake date of birth in that sense. So it's the quality of data that you get online is always questionable. Then the issue of complexity of big data. So most institutions can't even handle the complexity of the data they are getting. They don't even understand the variety, the velocity, the volume, and the value. They don't even understand to use. And it's because they don't have the skill. There's a huge skill gap that need to be filled to ensure that these things are done effectively. Now let's look at data analytics and digital brand management. So basically, when you talk about data analytics and digital brand management, you want to find out how data analytics improve digital brand management. And in digital brand management, the synergy between data analytics and brand management is revolutionizing how brands connect with audience. And that is that some of the things before I didn't mention, our ability to collect data to understand consumer behavior, the opportunity that we have to now understand the way consumers behave, how consumers think, all have an impact on how we manage our brands based on our digital or data analytic opportunities. Now let's look at the role of data analytics in a brand. So for data analytics, what specific role do they play? We can talk about empower brands by understanding consumer behavior, as like I've already indicated, being able to personalize customer experience, optimizing digital marketing strategies, and predicting market trends. These are all basic and specific roles that digital analytics play in ensuring that brands are being more meaningful in today's digital world. Then also the issue of the shift from traditional to data-driven branding. So now brands are rolling out campaigns based on data analytics. In fact, most big brands no longer run, like I keep on saying, gone are the days that Guinness would buy airtime. Those of you who are a bit older, you used to have Guinness, you used to have Club, you used to have Star, Golden. But until recently that I think FDA came up with some guidelines to manage it, they could buy the airwaves and block it for like 3 months. In fact, for 3 months, 6 months, every day you wake up in the morning, you hear Guinness advert, afternoon Guinness advert, evening Guinness advert, prime time news, Guinness advert, Golden, Star, Club, here, there. But now, all of them have shifted from their traditional engagement with consumers to a data-driven ones. So now, based on how the consumers are behaving or how much information you have about consumers, you adjust your strategies to meet the interests of consumers to ensure that somebody talking, I heard somebody talking. Say any point, any question? Okay. To ensure that you at least have control over the market. Okay, you'll be able to identify the high-value customers and target them more effectively. Because all of us don't buy the same. There are high-value customers, there are medium value, and low level or low-value customers. And as an organization, digitalization or data analytics give you the opportunity to really analyze them and target them accordingly. And note that don't go and waste your money advertising in a certain area where they are not into drinks. Okay, whilst institutions are now raising concern about diabetes and kidney problems because younger people are now getting kidney because they are buying fuzzy drinks and doing all sorts of things. And you also want to go and promote yours on the same platform. All right, then it becomes a problem. So data will tell you that this is not a place you should go. All right. And then also reduce marketing costs by focusing on high performance channels. Now, data analytics help you to now focus on the high value performing channels. If the platform is not performing or the channel is not giving you value for money, you don't waste your time. All right. At least there's some scientific basis for making that decision. Now, there's also enhancing data analytics, enhance digital brand management by one, using social media analytics, search engine optimization, and content analytics, and then also customer segmentation, competitor analysis. This helps you. These are all news that are consistently offering the company the opportunity to understand what is evolving in the market. Any question at this time? Okay, so these are some references for your study and some questions, some sample questions to try on your own. And when I give the sample questions, take good care of them. You never know when it will come up. All right, because of time, we'll move to the second aspect of today's work, which is digital brand crisis management. Okay, so when we talk about, before we go there, any question under analytics? Any question under analytics? Well, we are switching completely.
Sir, this is
Yes.
Francis.
Yeah,
Yes,
Francis.
it is easy for you to check Facebook, I think LinkedIn, but on X, you have to pay to check the analysis.
Okay.
So I wanted to find out if there is a way we can check it for free.
Oh, no, you cannot check it for free. You see, it is a value proposition. So if you want X, okay, so what I can make, you see, is because of the kind of platform. You know that, you see, the first thing you must understand, I think I've mentioned it before, the first thing you must understand is that all these platforms operate on a certain framework. Now, when you want to talk about X, you know that X is one of the platforms that encourage a lot of arguments. Have you noticed it? A lot of the trending arguments that happen on social media is on X, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
Doc,
Yes.
let me come in.
Yes, please do.
If you want to check basic analytics on X, it is free. But then, if you want to check deeper insights like audience demographic, followers trend, advanced video metrics, that one you need X Premium or you need to subscribe. But for free, like you just log on to X and you'll be browsing, you can check. It's free. You're not going to pay for it. But unless you want deeper insights before you pay. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much, Kwenu. But I also need you to understand that all these platforms operate on a certain framework. So you take X, for instance, it's text-based. So what can you make out of what can you easily make out of text? Is it easy to get insight from text against maybe TikTok, where you have a mixture of video and voice and less text? You see, so each of them operate on a different framework that offer a certain level of value. So sometimes you may come across a platform that seems to be free, you think it's free, you can get a lot for free, but you can also not do a lot with it. You can't do much with it. or it's much more difficult to interpret it. But on X, where there's a lot of text, all right, which is easy to, if you want to analyze text, it's much more easier to analyze text, to understand what people mean. So, of course, they notice it and put value, premium on it. And don't forget that aside all that, look at the origin. Who is the owner of who is the owner? Is it not Elon Musk?
Elon Musk, yes, sir.
That guy doesn't have to give anything for free. So you more know. And it's an American base. You realize that most of the Asian-based platforms, you see, they are a bit measured. But the typical Americans is all about money and control. So it has deep-rooted issues beyond what we all know. All right. Any more questions? Okay, so now let's look at crisis. So I guess when it comes to brand crisis, it's one of the very interesting aspects of the digital ecosystem. But whichever way you look at it, if you operate an online business, one way or the other, you come across or you have to face the issue of crisis one way or the other, because somebody can wrongly accuse you and then anything can happen. Now, can anybody tell me what is trending now? That looks like a crisis.
South Africa xenophobia attack.
Exactly. But how did it start? Initially, it was just a xenophobia attack. But now it has turned into a social media war. And for once, I didn't know that Kelvin Taylor, all those people who have been insulting all of us, now, I think we can't contain them anymore. So now they've transcended their insults. Now they are going Africa. So if you see the way they are giving you to the South Africans, me, myself, I'm sad for them. And I'm telling myself, these people, these South Africans, they don't know the problem they have gotten for themselves. These are people we can't contain them. We are praying for them every day that they should repent. Now, at least, for the next like a week or two, they will stop insulting us more. You understand? They should wait till they hear from, is it the other one, Philip Jonas also? I haven't heard from him. Maybe he will also add his voice and then at the end, but the point is that, you see, the issues that turn into crisis are like typical, and I can't ask you say, as I'm say, but say, Frank, so you never know when things are going to go bad. It's just a one simple action. Okay, it was all over the news that there were xenophobia attacks. It's not the first time in my life. This is about the fourth or fifth time that I've had friends in South Africa, some colleagues who are lecturers in South Africa, who have had to resign and come back to Ghana because of some of these things. Okay, and it has never been that trendy until now. It's because of the development of social media. All right, so the issue of crisis can happen at any time, depending on what happens. But what are we talking about when it comes to crisis? We talk about crisis when there are failures, when there are social media backlash, when there are unethical behaviors, when there are misconducts, poor customer service, cyber attacks, misconduct, executive misconduct, or public controversies. Okay, these are things that easily, and in this case, where we put a xenophobic attack, is under public controversy. Now, the South Africans are even denying that they are being xenophobic. If you listen to their press conference, they are saying that we are overreacting, and this one is like nothing. So they think that they should keep quiet and they should beat us. We should keep quiet for them to beat us, and then it's normal. You understand? And the point is that this has now turned into a social media something. And the reason why the South Africans for the first time are reacting to it is because now it has turned into a social media something. That is giving them a very bad mileage all over the world. So Russia and Russia and Ukraine is fighting, US and Iran is fighting, Israel, Iran fight, and you are fighting your own people. For what? And I think in the yesterday night, I heard Malema saying that the 300 Ghanaians that left South Africa, the South Africans should tell him how many jobs, have they been able to create 300 jobs? No. So typically it means that this whole thing doesn't make sense. But unfortunately, it has now turned into an online or a digital problem. And once it becomes a digital problem, yes, Anthony.
There is another one to a Congolese man whose shop was, I mean, they took everything from the shop. And this man is telling them that when he goes to his hometown, he's going to make sure that all of them will come back and apologize and bring the things that they took from the shop with juju. And when you go there, you see that they are begging that it has not come to that far, so you should relax. And I think that man is serious about it. And he said he would do it. Whether he will kill them because he suffered to buy the things and he can't go and take it anyhow.
In fact, a lot of times I have a couple of friends who have shops in South Africa, and I'll tell you, it's very expensive to live in South Africa, you know. It's very expensive. In fact, I have friends and colleagues there who sometimes will call people, some of us in Ghana, to send them some small money. I'm telling you.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
And they are still going there.
It's pretty expensive. It is not cheap living in South Africa. Getting a shop in South Africa, and these are very, very expensive. You know, and unlike Ghana, that any foreigner comes here and get local people, work with them. In South Africa, you get enough local people to work with. You only get foreigners, but the indigenous South Africans, naturally, they are lazy and they will not work for you. The fact that you are a foreigner, forget it, they will not even work for you. They will intentionally decide not to work for you. You understand? So it's a very difficult situation for them. I don't even know why they are misbehaving, because in fact, in this case, it is their own disadvantage. You know, I feel like they will suffer them more, but maybe they've not seen it. Maybe as time goes on,
the whites will bounce back on them again. I think this is a political means to, I mean, take away some of the countries, other countries that are there. They want them to move, then later they will bounce on them again, like how they used to do to them during the old days.
Well, we are here, at least we are in Ghana. Let's enjoy our peace possible. Let's do our NDC MPP Anyway, let's look at some of the objectives of brand crisis management. So when we are managing crisis, don't forget that we are talking about managing the crisis. Okay, well, we want to protect organization's reputation. Unfortunately, when you want to protect the reputation of an organization, you don't wait for the crisis to happen before you protect it. Because what is protection when it has already happened? You understand? You say you are protecting your house from armed robbers coming to steal from you. And then you say, you for some reason, armed robbers have come to rob you, and now you say you want to protect the house. What is there to protect if they've already stolen the valuable items? You know, so when you talk about, you know, protecting organizations' reputation, it starts from how you engage on social media. Your principles of engagement must be managed properly to avoid some of these things. And then also maintain customer trust and loyalty, control misinformation and public narratives. You understand? Now, what is really, really hitting people, just like the way the South Africans are saying, they seem to make it look as if we have been misinformed. Ghanaians have been, the government has been misinformed to come for its people. That's what they are saying. That is a misinformation. And
I said the videos clearly shows what they are doing, and we can't sit down for our people to be killed first.
Of course. Of course.
So now we can see. Not that it's a aspect that we'll hear from word of mouth. Now everything you can see from the media.
The media. Yeah, that's very true. Very, very true. Very true. All right. So there's also reduce legal and financial losses, restore stakeholder confidence, and ensure business continuity. Okay, these are some objectives that we can talk about. But basically, when you talk about digital brand crisis management, you are looking at specific strategies that strategic processes through which organizations identify, prevent, respond, and to recover from events in digital environment that strengthens their reputation, credibility, and stakeholder trust. And so, like I indicated earlier on, for a digital space, it's about identifying how it happens. You don't wait for it to happen. So you identify, you prevent, and respond. You don't just respond to the problems. Your interest must not be waiting for the bad things to happen for you to now respond. So what South Africa could have done was to actually, man, I'm told that, but it's so bad that even in front of the police, foreigners have been assaulted right in front of the police, and the police can't even stop it. And so if the police can't stop it, then what else do you want us to do? We have no option than to move. Okay, so that's how it is. You must be able to identify, must be able to prevent and respond to it accordingly. Now, also, it can emerge rapidly through social media platforms, online review sites, blogs, news websites, and other digital communication channels. For instance, Fix the Country. It started with a simple hashtag, isn't it? And then, because people can relate to the problem, then it caught up and then became a big problem for the government of the day. All right? So we must ensure that, the increasing influence of the digital media has made brand crisis more complex because information can spread instantly and allowing stakeholders to actively shape public perceptions and amplify reputation threats. So when probably I believe that what we have seen about these xenophobic attacks probably is the least. There are probably much more bigger issues, but we've not seen them yet. Maybe when we see them, you probably will ban anybody going to South Africa. But we can't see them because they are not out there yet. But when they get out there, I'm telling you, the situations are worse. If you speak to people from there, what they tell us is sometimes is disheartening. Anyway, let's look at some types of online brand crisis. So, for example, product crisis, when consumers find an defective or harmful product. And what does it mean? The cues are, the signals are that the organization may recall the product. All right? Or something. Recently, DVLA said, has anybody bought a car 2026? Is anybody here who has bought a new car?
Kenneth.
I'm told, may I use a very old car because I'm not a rich man yet.
Sir, Kenneth, our class rep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So I'm told that all your registration numbers are peeling off, isn't it?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
So every time I'm always painting it.
And GDLA said that you people should bring it back for replacement. And people didn't mind them.
Since when?
Hey, since when? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I mean, see you.
Hey, I thought it's only Ken who bought a new car, but it looks like more people have new cars. Oh no, it was in the news. It was in the news. I think yeah, so check from them. And they actually are recalled that people who have suffered from that should bring it for replacement at no charge.
Then Monday we'll go there.
And then I have to go to Adenta.
2026 number and then
Hey, so there are a lot of 2026 registered cars, eh? Meanwhile, you were all saying that it was only Kenneth who has bought a new car.
Say Ken or to 10 you follow no.
Hey, you.
Anyway, let's look at that. Also, there is also social media crisis. And when it comes to social media crisis, viral online backlash, so negative hashtags. Those are the signals. When you start to get negative hashtags, what it means is that you are going viral for the bad reason. Okay? Then there's also ethical crisis. That is fraud or unethical practices. It comes in the form of corrupt scandals. So it will come in the form of corrupt scandals and people will now talk about it. But when you go to the cracks of the matter, you notice that it's more of an ethical issue. All right, but it will come into the light as a corrupt scandal. Then when there are leadership crises too, when an executive misconduct themselves, it becomes a CEO controversy. So leaders of the organization or the group will now be seen as controversial, and that becomes a whole new problem. Then when there are technological crises, it becomes cyber attacks or data breaches that also emanate in the form of customer data leakages. So WikiLeaks, all those leakages, data leakages that we see, it means that, what is it? A cyber crisis. Somebody has broken into their system, there's a security breach, and the technology has been run down completely. Then there's also the issue of customer service crisis, and that comes in the form of public complaints. Okay, especially it comes in the form of poor customer service. Then we also have employee-related crisis that comes in the work of workplace abuse. Okay, so now that emanates from staff misconduct, and all these things, when you put them together, comes in as digital online crisis. Now let's look at some stages of digital brand crisis management. So when you have to manage crisis, what are the things you need to do? Okay, when you want to prevent and prepare, what are the things that you do? Very simple activities. You do risk assessments, you do crisis planning, media training, social media listening, and crisis simulation. That's according to Fink, 1986. He believes that if you want to adopt, and later we'll look at some theories and what they suggest. Now, if you want to adopt a preventive approach, okay, if you want to adopt a preventive approach, then you must consistently have simulation of a risk assessment, crisis planning, media training, social listening, and crisis simulations. This helps you to tame the potential crises that are likely to happen. So you know the risk. Just like the banks will run a risk assessment on every transaction, you must also consistently run a risk assessment on your online platforms. What are people saying? What are the words that people are saying? What are they saying? In what context? So that if there are potential statements to ruin your brand, you quickly put in mechanisms to deal with it, rather than allowing them to emanate or grow into something else that you cannot manage. Also, if that fails and you want to look at the crisis response, that is when you have not been able to prevent it and it has actually happened. What do you do? Okay, the key response strategies include immediate acknowledgement, transparent communication, public apology where necessary, media engagement, stakeholder updates. Okay, and this is according to Tom Combs in 2007, that edge organizations must match response strategies to a level of responsibility attributed to them. There are some brands, they don't care. Or your customers don't really care. I think when, in Ghana, when we started, okay, so when I remember when Kennedy Japan started bashing the pastors, some churches have collapsed, but some churches have never been the same. And the reason is that the stakeholders have made a decision that no, and if you notice, none of these churches manage the crisis well. A lot of them, they did not deny, they did not respond, they were never transparent, they were just rebattering and kind of insulting the man. Meanwhile, the man was basically exposing you with evidence. You cannot fight evidence with insults, because people will get to know that, oh, there's some level of truth. The man might not have the facts right, but the fact that you cannot, manage the crisis effectively, what you do is that any stakeholder, any sensible stakeholder will make a decision. And that's why most of these churches have lost their membership. All right? So some of these things, they are around us. They are not too far away. Then there's also recovery and reputation building. After you have disgraced yourself, you couldn't prevent it, and you couldn't. You see, I think a typical example is I think 2 years ago I heard this. Is it Reverend Bedu Kobi or so? He said he's now selling the church, and I'm talking to Kubu. Some says he want to buy. Can you imagine?
That's funny.
You see, now Christianity has failed to the point that fetish people are now buying Christian properties. How? Why should that happen? You understand? So he failed to respond, and now what is he trying? He's trying to recover and build reputation for himself. And is that even working? No. Okay, so you see, these things happen in chains. One, you have to prevent it. If the prevention fails and you also fail to respond, now you get to a point that you need to recover your reputation. And what do you do? What are the strategies? Corrective actions, it comes with compensations, corporate social responsibility initiatives, rebranding efforts, and enabled customer engagement. And you can find Bedu Kobi in this. What Bedu Kobi is trying to do is rebrand. He wants to sell the building and go and buy another building somewhere else. The amount of money that he's putting on this one, I can tell you that he has identified another property somewhere that he just wants to go and buy, rebuild, get a new church name, and start something completely new. But they say the pastor who sold Agrades church to him also did the same thing. I'm told that now he's in Ashaman. He's bought a new property in Ashaman, and he has started a new church in Ashaman. That is when you have failed to recover, when you have failed to prevent and find any way of responding. Then you have the only solution is now trying to recover and rebuild your reputation, which is very, very difficult in this case. Now let's look at some key characteristics of an online brand crisis. So for online brand crisis, what happens? Crisis can erupt and escalate within minutes online. In fact, between when did I think the South Africans arrived in Ghana when? I think Thursday or so. Between Thursday and now, how many videos have been made? You can count how many videos, counter videos, responses that have been made on social media. This indicates to you the speed in which people want to. And I this morning, I was watching Kevin Taylor. I don't know where he got a video of South Africa. How South African apartheid, some old video. I don't know where he got it. But now he's showing a lot about them. That he was insulting that they don't even know their history. Where the South Africans were also showing some poor areas in Ghana, some bad roads. When they come to bad roads, it is all over Accra. In fact, from when you exit Accra, you can get a lot to see. So that one, they will get us. But the point is that speed is key when it comes to an online engagement, especially when it's got to do with crisis. Okay? Then also public visibility. Conversations are open, global, and archived. So you have a lot of public visibility. People who don't know Kevin Taylor now know Kevin Taylor. People who don't know Jacinta, I never heard of Jacinta until I think this morning or yesterday. That Jacinta, South Africa, I don't know her portfolio, whether it's a government spokesperson or the way they have insulted her, I don't even know. In fact,
from review, I heard that she was married to a Nigerian man who later left her. So I think she's doing all those things because of broken heart.
Broken heart. Okay. You see how much detail some people can get about you when you misbehave. I mean, that's why I say I always like being in my corner. Because if you try to do this social media thing, you are not stubborn enough, if you have not developed the skin to resist or to manage insults, then Charlie, don't go and fight anybody. Because the kind of insult you get, your blood pressure will just collapse. So you have to be careful how you do these things. Anyway, then there's also virality. That is drawing massive attention. So now all eyes are on South Africa and Ghana now. Okay, and this is going to create a certain rivalry for a very long time. All right. Then there's also customer empowerment. So customers have platforms to voice dissatisfaction. So now, all you need is somebody to say something bad about you, and those who like you and they don't like you will now, especially those who don't like you, you see they will add more pepper and salt to it and create more mess for you. That's how it progresses. So it empowers your enemies to actually now fuel the crisis in your name. Then there's also platform sensitivity. That crisis can look different across platforms. And it's true, sometimes arguments that are happening on Twitter might not be happening on Facebook or TikTok, or sometimes some of these things may be happening in some places that other places cannot be found. All right. Now let's look at how effective online brand crisis can be managed. So effective brand crisis management is generally must be handled in a very fast way and transparent. So you must be fast in responding to it. You don't wait for people to hit you all over. Otherwise, you might not even gather the courage. It becomes difficult to gather the courage to come back and at least explain yourself. And then you must be transparent. You realize that if the South Africans have been a bit transparent in the response in the press conference, I'm sure that this backlash wouldn't have started. If they were transparent enough, it's okay, yes, our people are misbehaving and that we should all stop. And it is a recipe for this, that is, it has the potential of we South Africans having problems with other African countries, which is not good for us because we also have businesses in other countries. You know, if you are transparent enough, people can empathize with you because you are being transparent. We all know that there's an issue. But if you become transparent with the issues, then people can be empathic with you and try to reason with you in that sense. Then we can also be strategic. Okay, there's a way to do it. I think that Jacinta wasn't strategic, or in this case, her strategy did not work. She thought that she was going for a complete denial. Okay, we'll look at theories, some theories. We'll look at some theories that will give you a perspective in what the South Africans are trying to do. You know, they are trying to now project complete self-denial that, oh, I didn't come and see that, which is a theory that exists. Okay, unfortunately, the evidence there is so much that that theory or that approach is not the best at this moment. Then we must also be consistent and then also have shareholder-oriented approach, a situation whereby we must consider what shareholders will say. When we talk about shareholders, we are not talking about people who only have shares, but beyond the shareholders, the public interests that comes with it. Now, let's also look at the role of digital media in this sense. So, social media platform, blogs, influencer commentary, online news platforms, user-generated content are all avenues that helps in transforming brand crisis. And sometimes, if you can make good use of them, it helps. Then there's also social media monitoring tools, sentimental analysis, digital engagement strategy, and online reputation management systems. That also helps. I remember when I think I've told you I work with USAID. In fact, I was in charge of sentimental analytics, whereby on my decks back then when I worked with them, if anybody mentioned USAID online in West Africa, my office was the first person to pick it, whether for good or bad. But if you posted anything online and it had USAID in it, I'm the first person in West Africa to see it on my phone, on my laptop, on all my digital gadgets. And it's because that was my job. So I was supposed to immediately report it to my superior that, okay, somebody has mentioned it in Senegal and that the person says so and so. And then if it's a threat, if the statement has any threat in it, I do a simple analysis on it and I share with my superiors. and they will pick it up from there. They will deal with the country representatives there. So a lot of things do happen that we don't know. But those big institutions have a lot of things that control and manage some of these things online. How often do you see big brands, big companies having issues online? You don't see them a lot. But even when you see them, they even come back and deny because they have controls. They can easily deny because you can't even get the video to replay. You watch it once, you can't find it again. But they have a way of managing some of these things to ensure that you do not have that much control of what goes wrong with them. All right. Now let's also look at some theoretical foundations of brand crisis management. And one of them is a situational crisis communication theory developed by Timothy Combs that explains how organizations should choose crisis response strategies depending on the crisis type, attribution of responsibility or reputation threat levels. So if based on the type of crisis that are coming, if it is related or attributed to responsibility, then they will pick it. You use the situational crisis communication theory to deal with it. Or if it's about reputation, it has the potential to threaten the reputation of the organization as well. Use the situational crisis communication theory. Now, the theory suggests that organizations perceived as highly responsible for crisis must adopt accommodative strategies such as apologies and corrective actions. So, yes, they admit that, oh, yes, this is our doing. We failed to do it right. And these are the measures that we have put in place to correct it. And you will notice that when organizations come out with such publicity, you can no longer attack them. Because the means of recovery. What else can you say? You can only give them space to now do what they say they will do. And then later you can comment. But until then, you cannot do anything. It's just like somebody ran his vehicle. Somebody ran you down with a vehicle and the person says that, oh, sorry, I'll take care of your medical bills. What can you do? You only have to keep quiet for the person to take you to the hospital and take care of your medical bills. That's all. There's nothing you can do. But you get more upset when the person even argue with you that it is your fault. It is your fault that you are knocked down. You shouldn't have passed there and then you are knocked down. Although it might not be your fault, you realize that you gather there's some energy to fight back because the person has not admitted. So the situation becomes volatile. But once the situation is under control and is well communicated, you realize that even though you know you have all the advantage or you have every right to push the matter, you become more reasonable because the person has communicated well and demonstrated responsibility and is ready to manage the situation. So what can you do? Well, even when you take him to court, when you go take him to police station, he says, oh, you go to police station, officer, and accident in the Aba, me and me the board, man, shada, on hospital, bills ring and me. Do you think the police, how often would police prosecute you to court when you go with this approach? A lot of times, they only ask for some questions and the matter will die. Because the approach, you have taken kills the matter. Now, let's look at the other one. There's also image repair theory developed by William Benoit. Now, it says that image repair theory identifies communication strategies organizations use to restore damaged reputation. And one of it is denial, just like what the South Africans were trying to do. What South Africa is trying to do is just save their image. Now, look at the situation well. Unfortunately, it has backfired because now, in fact, the whole Africa, they are being noted as one of the most laziest countries you can find. So when people want cheap labor for investment, they won't go to South Africa because they will tell South Africans are lazy. So I'm not going to South Africa. But they are lazy people. You understand? Then also
Doc.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, it is not some hidden secret that they are very lazy. So I don't even understand this whole actions they are even doing. It is an age-old something that yes, they are very, very, very lazy. So it's very strange.
Yeah, but unfortunately now it has been amplified. You see, everybody knew they are lazy, but it wasn't this loud. Now, now there's a new generation that know that, oh, so do you think people want to travel to South Africa? No. In the new generation, if you say you are going to South Africa, you understand? So these are some of the, I agree with you. It has always been with them. But the fact that it has become a topic for discussion, and I believe that is why they are also reacting, because now the way social media has evolved, when your matter comes online, yes.
Yes, so I think yesterday Botswana blocks the border with them. And I think they have over 5,000 trucks that are in South Africa, and they are telling them to whatever they are going to supply, they should sell it in their country. And I think they were angry.
Yes. You see? So yeah, this thing has a potential to create a lot of, I don't know even why. But that Jacinta, how old is she? I don't even know who asked it. I don't know. Does she talk for the government?
The government is aware, but he's quiet. He's not saying anything about it.
Yeah,
the whole yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the whole ruling this party, they all know, but they are all silent on the issue. Even the president so far is still like BBI and Koso. So
they have elections coming up. That's why they are all silent.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but
I'm sure it will be that one.
Yeah,
but
I think the election,
ANC is just one. There's a party. So no matter what, they will win. So why the
Okay.
The assembly election is not only one party. They have different parties when it comes to the assembly elections.
Once, yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well,
that's why they are all quiet.
But that makes a lot of sense then. That makes a lot of sense. Anyway, so that's why they are in a state of denial. Actually, that's the only thing they could do. And that means invasion of responsibility. They are not even taking responsibility. That's why they are saying we are overreacting. You are beating somebody, you say the person is overreacting. So they are invading complete responsibility and then reducing offensiveness and then corrective actions. And then the mortifications, that is apology, they refuse to actually even apologize because the concept dwells on denying it. So if you are denying, why are you apologizing? Or why do you even bring in corrective measures? You understand? So if you go for this approach, this image repair theory, then what it means is that you are saying that you are denying and you are invading complete responsibility. Anything else, you don't know anything about it, and this is nothing that it should be. So you see, Malema is saying that we are overreacting and that it's not something that Ghanaians should do that. And they are creating the situation as if what they are doing, they are trying to reduce the offensiveness into nothing. Okay? And don't have any corrective measure. You see, in all the things they are saying, they cannot even come up with any corrective measure that, oh, this is far enough. So now, if anybody is offended, if anybody thinks he's being threatened, go to the nearest police station, ask for the police station officer, and make an official complaint. So you see that there's no even corrective action. Telling you that forget. They are not ready to barge in any way. But unfortunately, these are all approaches, theoretical approaches that organizations take based on, their interests and what they want to achieve. Okay. And then let's see how, so basically, let's look at some strategies in managing a digital brand crisis. So basically, what do? You look at, there's a framework called the 5 A's for responses that acknowledge the issues, apologize, assess the damage and context, act decisively and transparently, and adapt brand strategy post-crisis. So this is one approach. Then there's also the listen, identify, review, and respond approach. These are all approaches that exist based on what the problem is and how you want to solve it. Okay? So based on what the problem is in your small business, you can decide on some of these things. Now, let's also look quickly at some of the digital tools for crisis management. So for social media monitoring tools, there's Hootsuite and Brandwatch. These platforms are quite expensive. I remember when Hootsuite started, it was very easy. It was very cheap. But now, because of the value proposition, all these tools have become very expensive. Okay, there's also Crisis Dashboard, where you run your risk analysis and you identify the potential risk elements. You put them on the dashboard and monitor them and see how they grow. In risk management, you are able to identify a risk that has not matured yet. You can identify a risk that is not matured, and over time, that risk becomes a problem for you. So when you put it on the dashboard, you monitor and see the growth trajectory of that risk, and then as it grows, you manage it accordingly. Then there's also real-time analytics. There are few analytics tools that also give you real-time, and that's what I was using at USAID. That gives you real-time analytics of what people are saying about your brand. So all you needed to do is to mention our name, and then I'll pick it. It will just pop on my system, tells me which country, which region, which province, which location, and then we'll quickly now zoom into that person. Okay. Aside that one, there are also Sprout Social. That's another comprehensive social media management platform with a very robust crisis management capabilities. Then you also have Wk4. That also does a lot of social intelligence platform that offers suites for tools that can help in social media crisis management. Basically, you also want to build crisis resilience. And when you want to do that, these are a few things you must do. You need to plan scenarios that when there are big brands online who don't know what to do when the bad day comes. For instance, when you wake up one day and there's a negative hashtag against your brand, what is the first thing to do? You need to be able to plan a scenario based on your risk element. You need to be able to plan the scenarios to ensure that you don't miss or you are in control of what will happen. Just like having a fire certificate in your house or in your building premises. Fire service will come and train you how to control fire, how to do this, how to do that. So the day you hear a fire outbreak, you know the assembly point, you know what to do. And that's all scenario planning. Then there's also policy development. But in some organizations, they have strong policy guidelines to manage how postings are done, how information is collected and managed, to a point that when there are data issues or when there are breaches or risk or crisis, it already comes into a system whereby they can easily manage. Then also, we also have internal training for crisis communication. Of course, when crisis happen, people say all sorts of things. For instance, these xenophobia attacks. Who sanctioned Kelvin Taylor to talk for Ghana? Who sanctioned Efia Schwarzenegger to talk for Ghana? Nobody has sanctioned them, but they've taken the fight for themselves. You understand? So there should be some guidelines. If you want to talk, if you are a blogger and you want to talk for Ghana, what are the guidelines? So that you see, because whichever way you want to look at it, there are interrelationships. There are people who have wives and girlfriends in South Africa. They also have theirs in Ghana. There are people who have business in South Africa. They also have theirs in Ghana. Look at this, our bogus MTN. They are chopping all our money. And it goes to South Africa. You understand? So there should be some form of guidelines on how to, rebuttal in this case. I don't think that it should be completely insult all the time. There should be some guidelines to ensure that we model what we are able to say. And then recently people are looking at reputation insurance. Another one of the emerging things that are happening, that is cyber insurance that is able to help repair your reputation after a cyber attack by connecting you to an expert incident response team. And this is, although this sounds interesting, it focuses on cyber attacks. It does not focus on other scenarios where you can have control. Cyber attacks are easy to control because, like I indicated earlier, there are softwares that can calm down some of the issues that are happening. There are some softwares that can easily manage the problems, put them under control, sometimes delete them or block them from viewership, or sometimes reduce the mileage, reduce the reach. But that is as far as it can go as at now. There are other aspects that you cannot do anything about. Whichever way you want to look at it, it will come to you. Anyway, these are the references, and that is the end. Any question? Any question? I believe that you all received the assignment I posted earlier in the week, right? I posted last week, and like I indicated, please, this one, everybody will say something. That is your assessment. So if you don't show up, please, don't come and tell me that you have an incomplete results. But this past week, I received calls from 3 students who are telling me that when their results came, I think your seniors, those who just finished, who are about to graduate, they are saying that there are 3 of them said that they have incomplete results. Meanwhile, when we gave them the assignment, they didn't do. They've forgotten that they didn't do the assignment. They did not participate in it. So then they are begging me to now, when I should do something for them. Meanwhile, I'm closed that chapter a long time ago. I don't even remember the questions I gave to their colleagues. So please, I tell you, as for me, I'm a bit different. I don't believe in people failing. I will not fail you for any reason, but I think that it's only fair that you participate in the process and do what is right. That's all I'm asking for.
Thank you, sir.
Just participate in the processes and make sure that when it is your turn, just you come and do what you have to do, and that's it. I'm okay. But if you don't show up, I can't do anything for you, because you also have colleagues. Others have sacrificed and they have come to do it. So it will be unfair for me to just decide to give you any marks and then try to, try to kind of make it look as if there's no problem. You are okay. That will not be fair to them. So please, be present to do what you have to do, and all of us will be fine. Okay? So next week, I won't do much of the talking. Next week, there is your time. So you also come and teach me something next week. So immediately we start based on the schedule that I gave you. Whoever start first, when we start, exactly 1 o'clock, come and start. You have 10 minutes. You come and start. Because you think you are 18. If you are doing 10 minutes per person, that's a lot. that we need like 3 to almost 4 hours to get it done. Because 10 minutes means that an hour, you need maximum, we would have done like 6 people. So, and you have 8, you don't need like 3 hours and above. But there will be some small delays. So please, as it's only one, I'm starting. If the first person is not there, I'll move to the next person. And if we don't finish on time, you have to reschedule yourself to another time when I have the time for you. So please, don't play any games with me because that one I won't agree. So be on time. Everybody has its own questions. Kindly research about it, prepare your slides, and just come and deliver. Okay? Any questions so far?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I lost the connection. I don't know. Please, can you go over again what you said we should prepare the slides on it?
Yeah, I said the assignment I shared with you. Just look at your question, look at the case study, and then prepare your question. You prepare your slides and come and present next week. So next week, I'm not going to lecture. You are going to lecture me next week. We are going to lecture all of us. And
so we'll do that. Don't worry.
Oh, I trust you. Oh, I trust you. Don't worry. And then the good thing is that if you ask questions, you have some few minutes for questioning. If you ask relevant questions and they are good enough, what happens is that you get a point for asking the question. And you, the respondent, if you answer accurately, you also have a point. So it means that out of the 20 marks allocated, you could get more than the 20 if you do a good job on the day.
Noted, sir.
All right. So I wish you all well. My doors are open. If you need any clarification in the course of the week, my doors are open. And if there's anybody who did not find his or her name on the list, please, you need to get back to me as soon as possible. Let me address you before time.
Sir, this is Francis. Mine is a private matter, so I'll call you within the week.
I hear you, Francis. Private man, I hear you.
Thank you, sir.
Who else has a private matter?
Ken.
Is it?
Yes.
I'm yet to see the list. Or is it on the main page?
No, it's not list. The assignment.
If I put things on the page, you are expected to read. You are expected to read. You're always fond of doing this.
No, it's not a list. It is the questions. The questions the lecturer posted. You find your name and what you have to do.
I put everything on the page. So if I put
there is an
on the page, I expect you to
attach.
Okay.
I haven't heard from the ladies. Are the ladies okay? Fafa will not say anything. All I hear from Fafa is that somebody will be talking on her background. But she won't ask me any question. The other lady is Enima. Enima, at least once in a while, I hear from her.
Okay, sir, please, are you going to give us areas for the exams?
You see women. You see what women can do. They are only interested in the areas. I will give you areas. I'll give you areas.
Come again.
I said I will give you areas.
Okay? Oh, thank you very much.
I'll give you areas. Bye.
Sir, women are born to receive.
Are you so okay? I agree. I agree with you.
They want soft life. Soft life.
What did he say? Women are born to do what?
To receive. To receive.
You.
Everything.
I beg you, where the conversation is going, I don't want to be part. So I wish you well. So I'm logging off. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much.
So use the rest of the time to do your work.
Okay, sir. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.